Hello, friends. Welcome to the Show to Be Named Later podcast. I'm Jonny Voss, and I'm joined by the original Kansas City Omaha King, Noah Stoerzinger. And hey, Noah, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing? It's been a while.
It has, and it seems like our first order of business is like, Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Where have we been in the last couple months?
Life.
I'll let you handle that because I really don't know the answer.
Life. I think hit us both in the butt, and just catching up. I think with both our situations, it's difficult being in two different states for one.
Right.
But the end of the year is busy for me for where I work. So that was difficult, and we apologize, but we're back in the saddle, ready to go. So.
Okay, and so we're gonna try to be doing this on a regular basis, correct?
Yeah, I think we're gonna plan to do 2 shows a week now, so you can expect some more Jonny and Noah coming at you.
Okay, and just so that I'm recognizing the people that have asked me. I've had several people ask me about how do I subscribe to the Show to Be Named Later podcast. I don't understand this. I think I've used this before. I only found out that they got the internet on computers now, so I didn't know what to tell them. Is there a magic way of being able to be notified or anything like that to when our next video is out or anything like that?
Absolutely. The beautiful thing about this show, I think, with drawing crowd from the old show and growing a new crowd here, YouTube is a newer thing, right? So. Well, not for my generation, but subscribe on YouTube. There should be a button. Just click subscribe. There's a bell notification. You can click that, and it'll give you a notification every time we post. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your local podcasts. You can find us there. You can find us on all social media stuff at the Show to Be Named Later or the show TBNL. That'll notify you anytime we post. You can find us.
And you said what if you're on YouTube, you got to make an account or something, or how does that work?
If you're unable to subscribe on YouTube, make sure you make an account. If you don't have an account, you won't be able to subscribe to anything. So
okay, all right, good. We got all that out of the way now. So I didn't actually write. Usually I come prepared. I read a number of things that we're going to talk about. I'm gonna kind of ride blind tonight. I didn't write anything down or any scripts. What the hell do you want to talk about, my man? It's been about 2 months, right?
And yes, and I think this is the beauty of this show is we're not here to really script anything. We're fans, and that at the end of the day, that's what this is about. And we're here to talk sports like a normal fan does, and. So, I mean, I think where we want to start, when we left off, it was Twins playoff season.
Correct.
So
they were on the verge of winning their first ever playoff series in 100 years or whatever it was. Yes. Which they did, which it was great. Your thoughts, just season ending, what are you thinking?
I think when we went into this season, and we talked about it all summer. I mean, obviously, I think our first episode was opening series of the Twins, so we got to really watch them from beginning to end. Some ups and downs for that season, but man, that team found their stride at the end of the year. The Blue Jay and I was at every game for that Blue Jay series. That Blue Jays team never scared me. Maybe 1 or 2 hitters that really scared me, but it just always felt like that team was going to end the streak this year. I don't know what you felt, but it was a special team with Royce. Carlos is a playoff legend, and that was a fun series.
I agree. The only team that I didn't want to face, well, there were 2 teams. I think I said the Atlanta Braves, which that was not relevant. I don't know. You go from the New York Yankees and now the Houston Astros as being the team that you cannot beat in the playoffs. I didn't want to see the Astros. Obviously disappointed, but I guess my question now going into it is I see a couple things to talk about right off the bat. Pitching. So Kenta Maeda, God, I feel bad, man. I'm glad that he's getting paid, but I saw where he went to the Detroit Tigers, and I was like, well, okay, that's his swan song. That's going to be it for him, unless he gets traded, mid-season or something. You got Sonny Gray goes to my team, the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't necessarily know if the Cardinals are going to be relevant this year, but Sonny Gray obviously will be helpful to that. But now you have a couple holes in the rotation. Of course, I always forget about Chris Paddock, right?
Yeah. Chris is now. It's interesting. I think Chris pencils in as probably the number 3 or 4 guy, depending where you see Bailey Ober. And I think people don't realize how good his stuff looked at the end of the year, and how the guy was throwing 98 miles an hour. And he was our best starter in 2021 before he got hurt. So, it wasn't a huge sample size, but he looked good. And he looked good coming out after Tommy John. So it's still a big question mark. It's still kind of like, when Kenta came back, you didn't really know what you were going to get. And I worry a little bit that the Twins, I think, are all in on Chris Paddock and saying, he's our guy. So they're going to go get starting pitching, especially when you lose 2 starters. I think Louis Varland's going to move to the bullpen just with his stuff. It's going to be electric out of the bullpen. Bailey Ober, Pablo, and Joe Ryan. So you're looking for a number 5, maybe go get one more starter for some depth. But the pitching this year was, I think, the best I've ever seen in my 24 years of being a Twins fan personally. And it was, I think that's it really what propelled us through to Houston. But they're going to have to make some changes here.
Well, and what I'm concerned about with the Twins now is, and sometimes you see this in Minnesota sports where you're so happy that you get to a certain pinnacle in the season, like winning a playoff series. Oh, we haven't done that in 20 some years. So now we can all suck each other's toes and think that that's good enough for the next 10 years for Twins fans. And I think it was a blow. It was for me. I was very disappointed when I hear management say we're slashing the payroll, and which means that you're not going to be and I don't believe that you're going to be able to lure a lot of free agents with less money. Let's be honest. That's the name of the game. And so I go into this next season very cautious, because I don't want us to be so pleased that we got to the next round in a playoff series where the only reason that was because you did go out and spend money on guys or made the moves that were going to make it. Now, I understand we've got a lot of younger talent still in St. Paul that is slated to help us next year. But that's a lot, putting a lot of eggs in one basket, so to speak. And so I'm concerned that, because I don't want to go through another year of, like you said, Louis Varland out of the bullpen. But we've had a lot of pitchers like a Louis Varland. I don't know. He's young. We don't know what his career's got in store yet. But these guys that go from Minneapolis to St. Paul in just a revolving door and go, okay, now he had to go down to St. Paul and figure it out. Now he's back with the Twins. And you understand what I'm saying? You're going to have solid starting pitching again, like we did last year. You're not going to be able to patchwork it together. I think the bullpen looks fine, but there are still a lot of question marks. I don't think in the infield, but certainly in the outfield. And Max Kepler had a renaissance, a resurrection, whatever you want to call it. But there are still many people that believe he's on the trade block. He may be out before the season starts. And then the big matzo ball in the soup of life here is Byron Buxton. Don't you think?
Yeah. Now, So this team is interesting because, when you look at it on paper, this is still a very good team. I think the starting pitching, once you hit the 4 and 5 guy, I think is question. It's not, before you make moves, it's not obviously what it was last year. Now, from what I have been hearing about this whole payroll thing, it's not, we're not slashing it crazy. Um, this team was constructed off of trades and building homegrown talent. Your really big guy that you went out and signed was Carlos Correa, and you're not going to go out and sign another Carlos Correa this year. This free agent class is very, very weak this year. This is not a cream of the crop type of, besides Ohtani, but you're
Right,
not
but
going to.
there were guys last year that you did sign that maybe were not high profile guys, but they, like Michael A. Taylor, that they went out and did pay to play, and shoot, we would not have been where we were without a Michael A. Taylor.
Right. And this team still has money to spend this year, and I think they will. I think what this team has going for them is, with all of the talent that is coming up through AAA and at the major league level, you've got guys to make deals from your depth. And we are going to see, I think this team is going to make a lot of trades this year to boost its talent, and that's how we're going to get guys. Absolutely.
Okay.
We are going to, from what I can tell, is we're in on Logan Gilbert from Seattle. We're in on Tyler Glasnow, Randy Arozarena from Tampa. There are guys that were out there.
Where are you hearing your information? I mean, or did I just stop listening to baseball talk after the World Series? I haven't heard any of this.
Maybe we did. So Tampa's come out and said Tyler Glasnow and Randy Arozarena are available. And to get a Randy Arozarena would be,
I would take it a heartbeat. And you could trade a Byron Buxton for him, don't you think? Right? Or not?
They're not going to trade Buxton. They're not trading Buxton, but I'm going to tell you now, Max Kepler is on the block. Okay, he's a free agent after this year. Yes, he had a good year. I'm not opposed to not dealing him, but I think when you want to go get a nice starting pitcher, if you want to go get, we're talking another Pablo Lopez. You saw who we had to trade before. Max Kepler is the same way, and Jorge Polanco is the same way. Free agents after this year, making $10 million. That's a nice chunk of change and a good rental to go get a big caliber guy to improve this team.
I figured Polanco's gone this year. Now, are you talking about like Kepler and Polanco? You're talking before the season starts, or you're talking mid season when it's fire sale time?
But before the season, I think it's what's going to happen. I know Milwaukee and Seattle's a big one that's looking for a second baseman right now, and Seattle's got a nice young starting pitcher in Logan Gilbert, who is very, very good. Now, it's not just gonna be Jorge Polanco for Logan Gilbert. You're gonna this guy is nice, and he's young and controllable, so you're gonna need to throw in a prospect or two. But the beautiful thing about this team right now is that, and people hear payroll cut, but they don't realize how much talent is coming up in the system that's going to.
And that's why. But remember, we had a lot of up and coming talent that we were supposed to get so excited about. Well, just wait till this guy gets up here, and a lot of it is a crapshoot. You know what I mean? You don't know what they're gonna be like when they get to the major league level. But there were several Minnesota Twins players that just didn't reach the potential that they had thought. Trevor Larnach, one of those guys. And so, as long as we're completely honest with ourselves, the only reason the Twins made the playoffs last year is because they played in a division where every other team absolutely sucked. And not by a little bit. They sucked a lot, and so the Twins' regular season record, comparably to most Central Division champions, they wouldn't even be close to the playoffs. So it wasn't exactly like we ran away with anything or we were so good. Now, do I think the Twins belonged in the playoffs? Yes. But do I think that there is way more room for improvement? Yes, I do. And so that's why, God bless us. Pitchers and catchers report in 4 months, Noah. 4 months. Yep. So, there you go.
Right. And we talk about depth, and we talk about the all the prospects that didn't pan out, right? All the talent that we had that didn't pan out. And like you said, it's a crapshoot. You don't necessarily know. Like, I mean, yeah, Brooks Lee could come up and he could suck. Walker Jenkins could come up and he could suck. But it's what the past regimes have done of holding on to prospects when we have all this depth right now, and if they're not going to play, let's trade for pieces that are going to play and improve the team. You think about a lot of where these teams could have been if some of these guys maybe would have been traded in the past. And I understand holding on to prospects. It's hard to think about trading a guy who could be really good. But when you can improve the team now, and we're in the window, like this is the window of attention for the Twins. So you gotta act on it. You're not going to be the Yankees. You're not going to be in contention for forever, And
I will say that it does matter. Just get to the playoffs and let's see. The one team I wanted to see in the playoffs this year was the Texas Rangers. I thought we'd have no problem with the Rangers, and here they end up winning the World Series against the Diamondbacks, who I didn't even think they were going to be in the playoffs this year. So
how fun was that, though?
Yeah, baseball. Well, but it was not a fun World Series to watch.
But I didn't. The story. Yes,
but right, I agree with that, and I can take that a little bit better because baseball is like that. I mean, baseball to me is so much easier to watch stories like that than college basketball right now, where there's so much parity that, like I say, the University of Loyola Chicago is, a Sweet 16 or a Final Four team. Like, you know what I mean? Like where you just go, wow, this isn't the same as anything that I'm used to at all. So, all right. Done with baseball for right now. We'll revisit it. You want to switch topics?
Yeah, I got two. I think football, basketball. I think might be good to finish with the number one team in the NBA or the Western Conference right now.
Yeah.
We'll go Vikings.
You want to go football?
Let's go football.
Okay, so all right, I'm going to go on a little rant here.
Go for it.
Okay, with the Vikings, obviously it's been a roller coaster season. Things aren't looking so good right now. In my opinion, all right, I honestly, I don't see the Vikings winning many more games this year. Not because I'm negative or anything like that. And I really don't know if I want to see them win any more to get to the playoffs, just because I don't think, from what we've seen in the last 2 weeks. I will not take anything away from Josh Dobbs. God bless the man. He gave me a pretty good Vikings memory, when he came in against the Falcons, did something that nobody on planet Earth would have expected us to win that game in that circumstance. I don't know how we beat the Saints the next week, and now we're, the Pastronaut is back on Earth. Okay, and so I'm not going to take anything away from him, because I think he's done. He did a great job in the first 2 weeks. However, there is a reason why this is his fifth team in the last 8 years or 7 years or whatever it is. They appropriately call it journeyman, but his numbers have never been good wherever he's gone. And I got a kick out of before the Monday night game against the Bears, which, shoot, you could have had Madison in as quarterback and we should have won that game, But I think it was Joe Schmidt was talking about how he was at a memorabilia store or a merchandise store, and he was like, well, the owners are just saying right now the Josh Dobbs jersey requests are at an all-time deal, but still people are rushing to get Kirk Cousins, so we just don't know who our quarterback is going to be moving forward next year. Now, spoiler alert, let me make the prediction right now, and it's not even a prediction, okay? Josh Dobbs is not going to be your quarterback next year, and thank God. All right. And so, like I say, I commend the guy, but the reason I don't want, not that I think that even if we won 3 out of our next 5 games, we would go to the playoffs, but do you really want another Josh Dobbs, Spurgeon win kind of playoff game? You know what I mean? Because I just don't see him being able to. You're going to see a lot tougher teams, folks, than the fucking Chicago Bears, okay, in the playoffs, and I just don't see it right now.
No, and Dobbs was. It was interesting because I think he took Vikings fans by storm, not only with the Atlanta game, but with just how he moves. When was the last time we've seen a Vikings quarterback move that?
I brought it up with my friend. I said the last time we had a quarterback that was threatening as a runner was Dante Culpepper, and he was 270 fucking mother pounds. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't this elusive guy that could go around, and so that part was intriguing. But when you see what he does throwing the ball, like, I don't remember him throwing the ball 30 yards downfield in the last couple games.
Well, he had that Addison one.
Right, out of bounds.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, well, I was just say, like, the difference between, I think, a Dobbs and a Cousins, when Dobbs steps back to pass, I never know. Like, I'm always nervous. Like, there's always like, what turnover is this gonna be? Is he gonna, and it's cool the way he can scramble and great, but he's got no real arm.
And can't read defenses at all. No. And so every time, like, I liked when he would stay in the pocket in the first couple games, but then all of a sudden, I'm guilty. I was calling him Fran Tarkington. I've got witnesses. And that, like I say, that was exciting. But now with the amount of time, I think he's got as many interceptions now with the Vikings as he did in 8 games with the Cardinals. And so, there was just a lot of, man, I had a chance to go to the Monday night game against the Bears. I am so happy I did not go, because that would have been torture to watch that game in person, for sure.
It's embarrassing when you live out of state and you've got people who are excited about Josh Dobbs and whatever, and they watch the game, and you come back on Tuesday morning, they come to your office, and it's like, what the hell was that? And I'm like, dude, I watched it too. Like, it sucked. Like, it was. And
it's back to the first 5 games of the year. If you're going to turn the ball over, ball game. You know what I mean?
And so, and it's for all those people that talked bad on Kirk Cousins, and I see a lot of people now. It's like, you miss him now, right? Like, this guy controlled the game. He was an MVP. Like, his stats are way better than the MVP leader for the year right now, which is crazy.
Yep. I don't think in the last 3 years now, Cousins have been here, 6 years? I'd say in the last 3 years, you really cannot have a problem with Kirk Cousins. And I would not say that Kirk Cousins, the reason why the Vikings had been unsuccessful. And one more caveat to the Kirk Cousins deal. I know better. And, you talked about the folks that were hard on Kirk Cousins. I was always hard on Kirk Cousins starting out. So the first Green Bay game, or the Green Bay game that he got hurt, I'm not even making this up. I was trying to stick up for the guy by saying, because, there was some doubt, and I was like, I'm always hard on Kirk Cousins. So I said, and this guy, tough as nails, he's played every snap for the Vikings since he's got here. This guy, except for COVID, this guy is tough as nails. He's hard ass. That's Kirk Cousins, our quarterback. The very next play, there goes the Achilles. And of course, my friends, as they should, gave me a hard time for it, I don't know what's going to happen as far as the quarterback situation goes. I was wondering if, since the Atlanta game, if we were ever going to see the rookie again. after his concussion, and obviously after 2 wins for Dobbs. But now it's been 2 losses against 2 teams that we should have beaten by all accounts. So where do you think KOC starts punching different buttons? Because, man, that's tough to have a third quarterback, with 5 games left in the season to try to plug in another guy. I mean, but with Dobbs, you always say, well, they weren't ready for him, just like every Vikings defense when a third string comes in against us, and
Right.
That's why. And now but the thing is, they had film on Dobbs for 8 games from the Cardinals, what kind of quarterback he was. I don't understand why he was successful in those first 2 games. But obviously that ship's kind of sailed right now. So what do you think? I mean, do you just go with him till the end of the year and just go, that's all we got, that's the best we can do, or do you try to plug in another quarterback this late in the game?
So I think right now, from what I know, I think Jaren Hall is not ready yet. I think he's been practicing, but not in a full sense. So, with the bye week and everything, I know KOC came out and said they'll evaluate what they're going to do at the quarterback position. I think Dobbs gets another game. Truly,
Yeah.
I think 4 games is tough. And he was playing well in Denver up until the second half. He shit the bed in the second half. I mean, sometimes you have those games, as shitty as it is to have them against the freaking Bears. But so I think he gets another game. No way I want to throw Nick Mullins out there. I feel better having Josh Dobbs out there.
Well, no, I would take the rookie over either one of those guys.
Now,
I would, just to see him, just to give me something to watch on Sunday, because right now it's not much fun, and I've got a lot of bad feelings about their next game after the bye against the Raiders. I really do.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Dobbs gets a game, and then I mean, I think he has a short leash in that game. I think if things go bad, which I thought Dobbs was going to get pulled against Chicago. I know Mullins was warming up, but I know. I think Hall probably gets potentially the second half of our next game, but we'll see. I do think they roll with Dobbs though, but it is interesting, and with the way the NFC looks, pulling out a couple wins still probably gets you the 7th seed.
Yeah, right.
But
especially Seattle. Seattle's got Dallas tonight, a game I can't watch. Thank you, Amazon Prime. Don't care. But I mean, the freaking Packers are back in the hunt, for crying out loud. I know it's a long shot, but they're only a game behind us right now.
Right now, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I would hate to. I think it would be more fun for Vikings fans still to get a 6 or 7 seed than maybe miss by a game, right? Where you're just like, I'd rather make the playoffs or tank than just be right outside.
Right.
Because at least it gives you something.
But see, I can't do that when you've got like a Danielle Hunter having a career year right now. Try telling him you're going to tank. You know what I mean? Like, and the other thing is that's one of my concerns. B-Flow has got the defense playing pretty good damn football right now, and I'm concerned that we might not have his services much longer, because I think there are going to be NFL teams that are going to be knocking on his door very, very soon. And will that be another punch in the gut where you got Mike Tomlin or Tony Dungy, guys that were in the system that go on to win Super Bowls? Not going to say that, but I mean, I can't see Brian Flores sticking around here very much longer. And it's too bad, because I think he's really got the defense. Just to show you how shitty the Bears are, not since 1993 have the Bears won a football game when they have not scored a touchdown the entire game.
Well, I don't even know. I think it was the past like 8 quarters or so we haven't allowed a touchdown, which is not 8 quarters. It's like 6 and 6 or something like that. But it is crazy when you watch this defense and how crazy, like, you just never know what they're going to do. And I can't imagine being an opposing quarterback. Like, how many are they blitzing this time, right? Like, it is insane just what he's doing. And it's fun to watch, and it's got to suck when the offense can't do shit. So
right. And well, I guess we'll just have to sit and watch the next couple of weeks and see. We'll have a very, very clear idea in the next 2 weeks of where this team, if they're going to be a playoff bound team or not. Like the Gophers, who are going to play in the New Mexico Bowl. And by the way, as far as predictions go, I believe that did we not? I'd have to go back and check. Now, this is episode 11 tonight, correct?
Yep.
We have to go back, but I believe somebody predicted the Gophers to be 5-6 this year. And do you happen to know what their record is?
Is it 5? At the top of my head, I don't know. Is it 5-6?
Right. And they're still eligible for college football is such a joke. College sports is such a joke right now. But because of certain deals and everybody lost last Saturday, including the Gophers, they're going to be bowl eligible at 5-6 over all this. Well, this team didn't win, and so then they go down to like the top 60 teams that don't have 500 records, and the Gophers are like at the top somehow. Yeah, I think I think what I heard was they're going to play Jerry Kill's team, New Mexico State, in the New Mexico Bowl, right?
That'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great, man. I'm taking work off that day. Okay. And of course, the other prediction that we made here all season, and we're 100% right, that Byron Buxton would not play in center field all season. Okay, good job. So, we don't get things wrong all the time. One thing that I've gotten wrong completely is the Minnesota Timberwolves. What the fuck is going on here, buddy? Seriously.
This is when I tell you, when I pull up the NBA app, and when I just stare at the standings, seeing Minnesota number
at the top of the Western Conference
at 13-4. Now they're losing to the Jazz currently, but it is absolutely insane to watch this team. And to me, 17 games in, you maybe 10 games in, you're like, yeah, good team, they could flounder, whatever. This is a legit squad.
It seems like it right now.
We have beaten the Thunder, who are almost top of the conference, the Celtics, the Nuggets. We have beaten good teams, and we have beaten them smartly. It is a mature team. This team has so much depth. The defense is insane. Rudy Gobert is Utah Rudy Gobert again. Defensive player.
Yeah, I would say that too. He is pretty impressive this year. It's funny because other than you, the other two guys that I talk a lot of Wolves basketball, they are the most optimistic in the world. They always they make fun of me a lot for being so negative and so down on the Wolves. And they always just think every year they think this is the year. Okay. Both of them said, well, I'm just waiting for the shoe to fall here, man. And where they're going to, go on a deal where they lose 5 in a row. It hadn't happened, and the only negative right now that you can take away from the season is they went 3-1 in the in-season tournament, and they're not going to make the playoff run. Which I just listened to Charles Barkley the other night, and he's like, I don't agree with that. It's just terrible. How can the two best teams in the Western Conference don't make the tournament? I don't agree with it. And I thought he had a point there. However, it's not how it was set up. I don't like the point differential. I think they got to figure some things out on that.
The tournament was kind of fun, though.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the courts were pretty cool.
Some of them were really hard on the eyes, but watching, I went to the Kings game. Now they
the one we lost.
Yeah, but the court in person was super cool. Like that is,
Yeah.
it's just fun to see something different. And I think it gives fans something to cheer about. Like the energies of the game is just, it's different. Um, I do think
However, okay, but two things on that, because one is in a 5-team deal, you're only in it and you're only in it until you lose your first game, pretty much, right?
yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, don't try to sell me with bullshit about this is a great thing when you have to have an in-season tournament just to guarantee that NBA players are going to play in a regular season game. That's why you came up with it. And stop me if I'm wrong, but am I wrong? I mean,
I mean,
why the hell do you think that they put this together so that these guys would actually play for something, or people could come out like New Orleans Hornets fans could come out? Oh, sorry, they're the Pelicans. Could come out and watch a game once in a while, is it because every other game's. I mean, it's so hard for me to take the NBA seriously in so many levels, and that's one of them. And like I say, if I'm wrong on this, but to me that was the genesis of the in-season tournament, because you got millionaire crybabies who don't want to play basketball.
yeah, I mean, and that's why I think I love, now he's hurt now, but Anthony Edwards will play every fucking game because he doesn't care. And he knows that people pay good money to come watch him play basketball. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was broadcasted, that's why it was the main reason for
No,
the
that was
tournament,
Jonny
but
Voss saying what I feel. Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah.
being frustrated with the NBA, because to piggyback on that, I had heard that the NBA, what now, I don't know if it's in effect or it goes in effect. I thought it was this year that you're actually going to get suspended if you take games off if you're not really injured. And I thought, how is that a punishment to suspend? And that's exactly what they want, except for not getting paid. That's like suspending my students, for doing whatever. And you get a day off because that's how it works. And so I was confused as to how you're going to suspend someone for not playing. You're going to have them not play for not playing. That made no sense to me.
Well, right, and I mean, I don't have the answer to like what you do to force these guys to play the game, and I
Why do
understand
you have to force it? How do you not want to play basketball? That makes no
exactly,
sense to me.
exactly, and I I just think it's interesting, and I know the game of baseball is different from basketball, but when the season is doubled and you've got guys like Marcus Simeon playing every game, and you can't come out and play 82 basketball games when you, for the most part, get days off, 1 or 2 days off in between all these games, man. Like it does baffle me to see you not want to play. And it also just shows me you don't care about the team personally.
You
Like,
don't care about the team or the fans. I
exactly.
mean, and I do hear this a lot. Like if you're a father or you got 3 kids, they really want to go and they want to go see a guy like Curry play, or I won't say Jimmy Butler, but a Joel Embiid or whatever it is. In your town, if you don't have good basketball rolling right now, you want to go see. Now that costs a lot of money to take a family of 5 to an NBA game, and then you get there and they're not even suited up.
Mm-hmm.
It's to me that's a hard sell. Apparently, I mean, the Target Center had been a mausoleum for years. Now they're winning, and of course, Minnesota fickle fans now every game is sold out, right? Pretty
But how
much.
cool is that to see, man? Like
It is.
But do you blame them for not coming to games?
Right. I'm just talking about the Minnesota fan in general, like how Josh Dobbs could walk on water for 2 weeks and then immediately, bam, you go from walking on water to being up on the cross within a week, and so it did. But you're right. I mean, I've stayed away from Target Center for a long time because I wasn't pleased with the product on the floor. But I'm just not impressed with the NBA as a whole yet. And, winning takes a lot of that away. It's easier because I probably watch more Wolves games this year than I have in the last two, at least from start to finish. Okay. Yeah. And that has to do with winning. Obviously, for me, it's more, I like to watch Ant. I love watching Naz Reid. Naz Reid, to me, is one of the most underrated players in the fucking game right now.
Absolutely.
And when Towns keeps his mouth shut, I like watching him play. I've never taken away from his God-given ability, ever. He's a roadblock in front of himself a lot of the time. It makes it really hard to watch him. But this year, I've been fairly pleased with Karl Anthony Towns.
So I was going to ask, what your takeaways were from this team. I can start here. I do think we mentioned Rudy. This guy has been just it. It is so fun to watch good defense in basketball.
Right.
And this team, this team has held the most teams in NBA history under 40% shooting already, and we're 17 games in. We are holding multiple teams under 100 points in a game where you average 115 points a game now. And Rudy is at the center of that, and this guy's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know if you watched the Thunder game.
And that's one of the reasons why they traded for him in the first fucking place, right?
Exactly.
And you didn't see it, but that he didn't have – I don't know. Is Towns healthy? Is that the difference, or the fact that they are now gelling together as – is that the deal? Like, what is the difference from – is it the point guard that he was used to be playing with all these years? Like, what kicks a guy in the rear to go, that's the guy we traded for?
So from what you can see is last year, Rudy Gobert, there were some flashes, right? But Rudy never trusted. It took a while to just gel with this team, and Rudy did not trust the other defenders on the floor, and he felt like he had to do everything on the floor. And now you just see him. He's so comfortable with his teammates and vice versa, and they all love playing defense with him. And Rudy can just focus on. The way this guy is closing out on the perimeter, and he's a 7'2" guy. He's blocking shots. He's just, I think, comfortable with the defense, comfortable with the team, comfortable with his teammates. And with Cat, it's funny because in defensive player rating, guess who's number 3 in the league? Karl Anthony Towns. Wow. Which, when would you have ever said Karl Anthony Towns is a defensive center?
Yeah, right. Yeah, never. Right.
And in the top 25, there are 6 different Wolves players in the top 25.
I did not know that.
This team is insane.
So one thing that I think is huge is minus Angelo Russell. And I think that was, and I wasn't excited when they traded for Conley because I thought, oh, here we go again. We get Brandon Roy 5 years after his, prime or whatever. But you also need a solid point guard to win games. And I believe Angelo Russell was one of the biggest cancers on this team. And you don't want to say one guy is responsible for the kind of record you have or the success you have. But I think the next 2 teams where he went, I think they said the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is just not – he's not a leader at all, but he's not a great basketball player either. So as soon as they got rid of him, it was a different deal. And this year, obviously, a completely different deal. Like, think about what this team would be like if D'Angelo Russell was the point guard this year. Do you think that you'd be the best team in the Western Conference? Absolutely not.
No, because
we're even close.
It is Mike Conley is exactly what this team needed, not only for Rudy Gobert to unlock, I think, a little bit of the offensive side of Rudy, but just the leader aspect that this team was missing for so long. I think Ant is a leader in the sense of firing guys up, but you need a guy who's just going to direct you in the right way. And a guy who's leading the offense is the perfect one for that. And Conley's such a vet. Um, and he commands the game the right way. And this team would not be where they are without him.
You think they'd be better when McLaughlin comes back?
I think McLaughlin is. I've fallen a little bit out of spirit with McLaughlin, but
he hasn't played this year.
He played a little bit, and that's why he's hurt. But I do think this team needs a backup point guard because they
sure do it. But he gives energy off the bench, is what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. Like you talked about their depth, which I do believe they're deep this year. I just like the energy that he brought, and you do need a backup point guard. So I don't think it would hurt us when he comes back. Correct or not?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you always want to be at full strength anyways. I mean, it's tough when Jaden, Ant, and McLaughlin are out right now. And it's not been terrible when Kyle brings up the ball or Nikhil or who, but just a guy on the second unit that can do what a Mike Conley can also do, I think is helpful. I would love for us to make a trade and go get someone. I really want us to go get a Tyus Jones again.
I was going to ask who would be on your wish list, Santa?
I mean, Tyus Jones or his brother, Trey Jones. Give me a Jones brother at this point to run the second unit.
Where's Tyus right now? Is he with the Bulls?
He's with Washington, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, you got to figure out how you're going to trade for him. He's making $10 million.
Right.
You're going to have to give up. I mean, Shake Milton can go. I mean, I haven't seen he needs to build up his confidence. Troy Brown Jr. just became a Minnesota hero. So
yeah, right. Okay.
See what happens with him, but
yeah, but is Troy Brown going to be a guy that you can count on every night, though?
You don't know. I mean, I think what you're starting to see is this guy, and he's only 24, but for him to come in, and he reminds me of what we wanted Josh Okogie to be, where he will come out and he is, I mean, it's every rebound, every loose ball, he is going to dive on the floor, and you love watching those kind of high energy guys, and he's long, he can defend, he can shoot the ball. It's exactly what you wanted with Josh Okogie. But Troy can actually do it. Now, he's giving you quality minutes. Can you count on him to shoot 45% every night? No. But if you can get some quality minutes from him, I think it's beneficial. I don't know what happens when Jaden, Ant, McLaughlin, all those guys come back. But
okay, and that's my next question. So, first of all, I didn't expect him to play, but I've been sick the last couple of days, so I haven't been looking anything up. The tumble that Edwards took the other night was
tough.
Horrific. I mean, that was tough. I was surprised that he came back out from the locker room even that night. Obviously, he's not playing. Just so you have a timeline, folks. The Wolves are playing the Utah Jazz right now, and he's not playing. Did they give any information about his injury and when they expect him to be back?
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, right after the game, I know Finch didn't give a huge update, but it appears I don't want to say serious injury because it's not. It's a right hip pointer.
Yeah.
Something. Essentially, his bruise.
Yeah.
Is what? Yeah. So, from what I know, I mean, yes, he's going to miss this game, but this guy wants to play basketball, and from all what everyone is saying, good chance he's playing on Saturday, which would be crazy for the fall that he took. It was tough.
Yeah, it was tough, and I do like that because you said that before I brought his name up. He is a stud. He just wants to play basketball. Oh, until he wins a championship here in the next couple of years, and then he's going to go play football, right? Because he's still talking about that, right? As football's his first. Well, maybe after that hip pointer, maybe he'll just stick with basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's rocking an Atlanta Braves hat on the courtside tonight, though. which I have respect for. He's got a hometown love, so that's great. Next question on the injury deal. Are we going to have to worry about Mr. McDaniels being one of those guys that shit? If we could just get McDaniels back, he's hurt, he's beat up, or is he going to be that guy that's always hurt?
Well, no, I mean, I think now the hand injury was stupid.
Yes.
But when you look at, I mean, this is his fourth year. Last year when he got hurt was his first time he missed time. And then this year, I don't know if you saw his ankle injury. It wasn't great. It's hard to control those.
Yeah, I saw how it happened. Yeah.
Yep. So no, I don't think so. Now, when you're a defensive guy like he is and who's playing point of attack on everyone's best player, essentially, I mean, he's going to get beat up. Like, he's going to take some hits, right? So I don't think we need to worry about that, but I think it makes this team even scarier when you realize we're still playing elite level defense, winning games without.
Right, because he makes this team very, very good. I mean, I will say that he's a good ball player, man. And it seems like it's more than just the defensive side now. It looks like his offensive game is coming around. Well,
it has to, because I think what this team is looking for, and sometimes it's a glaring issue in some of these losses, is this team needs a third scorer.
Yeah.
Because if Ant's not having a good night, I mean, really we'll run through Ant. If a team has come up with a game plan on Ant, I love that we can just go to Towns and Towns can pick it up. If Towns isn't having a night, someone's got to score. And Conley's kind of been that guy. Nikhil can score. Naz Reid can score, but you do need a score. And I think Jaden has
a go-to scorer more than just a scorer, don't you think? And
right.
Like, I think that was the Sacramento game, right, where Edwards was off, and unfortunately he kept shooting, which I think you have to do. But when he's off, I mean, there you go, and we did not look good against the Kings.
No, and Cat was shooting really well, and I wish I would have played through him a little more, I think. I mean, I like Ant shooting, but I do – if Cat's having a game, I would like going through him, because I don't think Sabonis would have impacted that in any way, and obviously it wasn't. But it is – I think Jaden takes this team to a whole nother level. His offense is nothing that's going to – jump out the page at you, but he's still a guy who can play some ISO ball. He can shoot the ball. I kind of want to see a pick and roll him and Nas a little bit. I think that'd be kind of fun. But this team is so good on so many different levels, and it's going to be fun to watch what happens when we get a backup point guard, because I know we're going to get a backup point guard. You need
right.
one. But this team is finding ways to win. I think it's super cool. After the third quarter was our worst quarter every year, every game last year, and it's our best quarter this year. It's typically taken the Wolves a quarter or two to get in the swing of things, I think. Learning what the defense is going to throw at you and how you're shooting, whatever. But they come out in that third quarter ready to go. And I do think that's a Conley thing, just kind of having that leadership there. But it's things that you've never seen from this Wolves team. It's the most exciting team I've ever watched, in my lifetime. I know you've seen some couple good Wolves teams, but I don't know what you're thinking.
Let's talk in a month. Let's talk in a week, and see, because things can change. But I mean, it seems like they are in a groove right now. And like you say, when guys get healthy, I think that the sky is the limit. There's not a lot of teams out of the West. Like, I mean, I had to look at Oklahoma City's record, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know that they were second. And because I figured that would be a wash, that we'd get that one. And, we had a fight for the game.
That's a good team.
It is a good team. And Holmgren, man, not a bad ball player at all. Right? I mean, Minnesota.
No, but I will say Rudy Gobert made him his bitch that game.
Yeah, but remember, the kid's this is his first year as well.
I don't know what it was, but Rudy had some against him that game, man. He went in and it was.
I have been impressed. I have been impressed with Holmgren though.
Yeah, he's been a lot better. I had my own doubts after watching high school games and watching. I think just the length and the lack of, I don't want to say lack of muscle, but he's a skinny guy, and I worried, when he's got to go against a Joel Embiid, how is that going to work, right? But I think OKC's been using him in a great way, and I didn't realize he could shoot that well, and
he was Gonzaga guy, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I don't remember him being overwhelming in college. That's just why I didn't think that he would make much of an impact in the NBA, but he definitely is.
Oh yeah, he's a good ball player, I think. And of course, every Minnesota fan is like, "Well, when's he going to be a Timberwolf?" But yeah, this team is exciting. This team is fun to watch. I think if you guys can go watch a game, go watch a Timberwolves game, because it's a fun time at Target Center right now. And when every game is sold out, it just makes it more fun to watch Wolves basketball.
There you go. Like the good old days. All right. Well, good start back. I believe we did talk about going a couple times a week now, right? And we're gonna get this whole friendship thing going again. Is that correct?
Yeah. We're ready to go. We'll do a couple. I think two podcasts a week. Keep an eye out on social media. We'll be posting more there. There's going to be a lot more to talk about in Minnesota sports. A lot more to do and grow the fan base here. So we're excited.
Well, I will. The final thing that I'm gonna end on is, I thought maybe when the Twins were done, in the playoffs, and you look forward to Vikings football, and they start out 1-4, and I'm like, shoot, man, like I don't think the Wolves are going to be that great this year, and obviously we see what the Wild are doing. It's kind of nice to have a team, until baseball starts again, because I don't think the Vikings are going to probably do anything this year. Maybe a new coach in St. Paul with the Wild will do something. I don't know what they're doing tonight. They did win their first game with their new coach. But the Wolves might be a team that we can actually ride all the way to baseball next spring.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I think like I said, that's the beauty of Minnesota is we have all four major sports. Yeah. So there's always something.
Say five if you count soccer.
They didn't make the playoffs though, so.
No, they're sorry too. They had to switch coaches as well. All right. Well, you know what? It feels good to be back in the saddle. I apologize. Been a bit under the weather the last couple of days, so I haven't been Mr. Passion tonight, but I guarantee I'll bring it. I will bring it next time.
Great. Good to hear.
All right. Before we go, I'm going to send special love and prayers to my good friend Connor, and also to P, also my friend Chris Castino. God bless you guys. For Noah Stoerzinger, I'm Jonny Voss. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.